Hello and welcome on this special session of APAC Higher EdTech Innovation Conclave. The session talks about building world-class digital campuses. And we have the leaders from university ecosystem of India with us today. Also, we have the leaders from industry who are doing a lot of innovation in this digital campus space. Without taking much time, let me introduce to all of you the moderator of this session, Mr. Hemant Sahal, founder and CEO of CollPoll. We just had a presentation from CollPoll. I'm sure a lot of university decision makers will be interested to collaborate with a company like CollPoll because of their innovation. And this event is all about bringing the leaders of higher education of India together to brainstorm on various aspects of higher tech and innovation conclave. We have with us Dr. Madhu Chitkara, Pro-Chancellor, Chitkara University. Welcome, Dr. Madhu. Thanks for joining us. We have with us Mr. Kunwar Shekhar Vijendra, Co-Founder and Chancellor, Shobhit University. We welcome Mr. Kunwar Vijendra. We also have with us Dr. Prabhu Aggarwal, Vice Chancellor, Bennett University. Thank you so much, Dr. Prabhu, for joining us. And we're also joined by Mr. Aman Mittal, Associate Director, Media, Lovely Professional University. Thank you so much, Mr. Aman, for joining us. Just before handing over the session to Mr. Hemant Sahal, let me inform all our eminent panelists and the audience that in the inaugural, we had the august presence of Professor Sudhir K. Jain, Director, IIT Gandhinagar, Mr. Naveen Mittal, Commissioner, College and Technical Education Department, Government of Telangana, and also we were joined by Dr. Pankaj Mittal, Secretary General, Association of Indian Universities. And also then we had a presentation by CollPoll, and now this is a session on building world-class digital campus, a very important session of 3-day higher EdTech innovation conclave. With this, over to you, Mr. Hemant. Over to you for the session.
All right. Thanks, Souvik, and thank you to APAC News Network for organizing this wonderful event. We are very happy to partner with you. I definitely have a challenge here to make sure that we don't repeat anything from any of the past conversations we have had, which means I'll have to go beyond the what has ever been discussed. So this is a very important topic because I think the way I was speaking to a senior Japanese investor a few days back, and we were discussing that, look, every industry has a defining moment, and COVID was a defining moment for education. So the way technology was used in education before COVID and the way technology will be used in education after COVID will be totally different. And it is the good institutions who are already started doing that effort we still are in a very early phases. Though we all want to claim that we are using technology really well, but we're still just scratching the surface. We're still very early in this process, and there's an opportunity, like in several other areas, like we talk about Delhi Metro. We are one of the best in terms of the metro infrastructure in the world because we didn't have legacy to the systems to work. We had a clean slate. Similarly, in terms of technology adoption in education, India has an opportunity that we don't have too much legacy to take care of, so we can start fresh, which means institutions can suddenly leap into the new age advanced technologies, while the institutions abroad, especially in the US and all, still have to figure out how to take baby steps. So with that, today what we're going to talk about is that the honeymoon with technology is over in the last 9 to 12 months. We all have understood where are the areas it will make an impact, where are the areas we should take up for the step and go deeper in. With that, I would want to start with Aman, who has built a wonderful infrastructure of technology. Aman, talk about what do you feel about technology at this stage. You've done an innings earlier. Let's say, what's in it in the new innings for you? What are you looking at technology doing? What magic are you planning to create at LPU with the technology? What does new innings look like?
So, Hemant, thank you. I mean, we had a conversation few back, so I know that's why it's good to pick up the conversation from there itself. I think the technology at LPU, when you've been here, you know about what we've been doing for so many years on the technology front, and the kind of product development that has happened in the university by the IT team in the university has been phenomenal, and that's one reason that we have not been able to work with players like you. I mean, because the team has been doing some great job at the university, and we've been able to develop some nice product which has been created in-house based on the requirement as well as the expectation of the people. But I think as we are growing, we are understanding the technology is shifting to at a much rapid pace, and we need to be in line with that pace. If we don't do that, probably whatever we have developed over the years could become obsolete, and probably we may just lose this team with which we have been running so far. So I think the major change what I see is the involvement of AI and ML in the technology, which we think would be the phase two of our product development, our product innovation, as well as decision making. Most importantly, because a lot of time people talk about AI, ML. We have done just our software supports AI, ML, but you don't have the use cases around it. So what we have been brainstorming lately is about that how the AI, ML use cases can be created. We just don't want to plug in and say that okay, we have done that. We want to create reports. We want to create actions. We want to create the workflows based on the AML technologies data that we get, not just because of the technology that we have, but the data that we have been taking out from that technology and using it for the workflows and actions. And I think that's going to be a major shift where we say that instead of a manual intervention of a faculty or administrator taking a decision on these plethora of data that is available in the university like us or universities like who are in the panel, there has to be a logics, there has to be AI and ML driven approach where basis the decision that we have taken, the AI ML becomes more powerful and stronger, and automatic decisions are taken. And one of the case studies where we're talking about the students who have not been so successful as compared to other students. So from what background, what they have, what is the attendance ratio, what are the areas in which they are facing problem. One of the big things that you mentioned is that technology, the COVID has pushed us to use technology more. So a lot of us have been taking the online examination. So we know that what question the student has been doing wrong, where they've been losing marks. So we know that okay, what topics have been big for the students who are not doing that. So we are using the data to ensure our students become more successful by providing them a support, right? Not just giving spoon feeding them, but providing more support around that. So I think that's the future or phase two as you for the development or the use case study in the university.
Yeah, great. So I think to summarize, what I understand is that like the systems of records are now in there, and there's so much data that now it's time to build the systems of intelligence on top of that data that exists and make systems more smarter, and especially in the areas of guidance and others. So that and then I will have one more question on to Vijendra sir on the administrative side, and then I'll switch to the academic side with Dr. Madhu, Chitkara and Dr. Aggarwal. Is so while we talk about, so there is, I think, one side of we're talking about AI, ML, and so many advanced technologies, and we work with so many institutions in the country. I think one of the things which is a very important and tough question, and I think you also asked for it, that let's talk about something new, is are we ready to change our processes first? Because trying to fit the technology in processes which are old or obsolete, or processes which are which haven't changed, and then trying to fit a technology over it is a recipe to disaster, we have seen in many places. So it would be great to understand your insights on it, that what are the ways universities can actually relook at their processes and redefine them and prepare themselves for better adoption of technology. Because it seems like the leadership decisions are made, but the processes remain to be the same, and that's where the best results of technology are yet to be reaped. So, sir, would love to know your thoughts, how institutions can actually take those steps.
Thank you very much, Hemant. Generally, when this discussion of building world-class digital campuses is there, so the second question comes: building world-class universities is more important, or world-class digital campus is more important? Because like it is a part of the whole process, because academic infrastructure, intellectual infrastructure, physical infrastructure, digital infrastructure, emotional infrastructure, networked infrastructure. So many things are there in inbuilt. So generally, when we talk about digital thing, and thanks, Aman, you have mentioned a lot of things, what you are doing and what has to be done in different universities. Hemant, coming back to your question, what is the challenge actually? Institutions, those who are 20, 30 years old, their leadership, there are two type of leadership. One is that those who are sitting on the top, but they are not executing the thing. They can give a vision. And there is a team which executes. So now if we say that we will incorporate the digital thing within the system which is already existing, it is creating a lot of issues, because neither the mindset is there, or either you have to change the complete team. So many times ruthless focus on the clear objective of set of objective has to be there, which generally promoters or the people around, they feel key people are working with us from so many years, and suddenly we say now if you cannot bring that transformation, you have to be out, because they may fail in this digital part, but they may be good in other parts of these 6 pillars what I mentioned. So this is one of the challenge which is there. And as the requirement is there, yes, we all understand. I was going through a report of McKinsey Global Survey of 2019, and it was very interesting indeed. Out of it, the total response, 80% said that they are trying to make the things digital, but 14% of them only said that yes, some positive, sustainable performance improvement is coming out of that. This survey I'm talking about 2019. But now definitely last 1 year has given us a lot of new learnings. Challenges were there and everybody was dependent on digital world. So things must have been changed, and they have changed even in academia, because a second report, if I look at Harvard was having a report which was telling that AI is least, education is one of the sector where the least use of AI is happening. However, we all are talking about AI, ML, blah, 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 blah. But this is what the reports say, because we have to see in totality the things. And in India also, like we say that what America is doing, what Australia is doing, what other countries are doing. No, we have to see that what we can do. Because every time I mention this thing, that every university in India has a different ecosystem, different challenges, different possibilities and opportunities. But yes, it has to come, because at the end of the day, digital infrastructure will bring more facilities for administration. Free access of information will be there, openness has to be there, and the cost cutting will be there, at least at the part of administration, which is very, very important in today's scenario. So this is one. And definitely, like many times, I personally feel that if we have to create a separate new vertical, which will be having a digital infrastructure, instead of trying to inbuilt it with our existing one. You know what are the challenges? You are working with us, you know the challenges, how to get it executed, what are the challenges. Many times even such silly questions will come, which could have been addressed by the lowest staff member, but willingness may be an issue. So that has to be seen, but India is changing fast, and the things are coming, and we all have to understand the importance and value of building digital campuses, or having a strong digital backup in our campuses. And thanks to companies like you, those who are doing a wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I think one valid point is, which you mentioned, that we have to look at India, because I think we have brought in so many innovations working with the Shobhit University, where we realize that our systems are a little different. So when you work on the ground with people, is when you realize that some of these things can be done smarter, the user experience can be made actually better, and then probably people will adopt. So it has to be also a lot of pull based technologies rather than just push based, where obviously decisions are getting from the top, but there is a pull by the users themselves as well. And that I think brings me to the next question, to Dr. Aggarwal, specifically on now the academics. And that question is that while everybody jumped to the Zoom / Microsoft Teams / online classes. There is an equally important learning element that happens when students and faculty members have an informal learning environment where they're just exchanging information, talking to each other. How do you see Indian institutions being prepared, or are they really using that part? Because the focus still continues to be on conducting online classes, completing assessments, and how can we prevent cheating. So the mindset continues to be around those things, while the real benefit of technology, where it breaks the boundaries of a classroom, allows more students and faculties to have a free flowing discussions, conversations. How do you see that being leveraged going forward in the academic environments?
Thank you, Hemant, for that question. And I think it's a very, very important question in today's time. So when COVID hit, I think we all jumped on the so-called digital platform. And what did it mean? We put the students on one side of the camera, and the other side, there was a teacher. And we started conducting our 1-hour classes online as if we were in a physical classroom. And I think it was a disaster, if I can loosely put it. There is absolutely no research, or if there is any research, it's very rudimentary, to really figure out what is effective in a technology-driven environment. And obviously, the COVID pandemic has forced everybody's hand. Personally, my own experiences tell me that the first class I taught online was in March, and I completely did not understand what I was doing. And I think now that I've taught maybe 5 classes, I've gotten better. But it's a relative concept that I've measured against myself. All stakeholders, students, we have put 160 people in a class now. So we leverage technology saying, yeah, we don't need 4 sections because we don't have a physical constraint. So instead of having 3 batches of 60 students, we have put 180 students behind in one Zoom class. And then who knows what's happening on the other end. It's a very interesting thing if you look at it. Secondly, now we have parents involved in the teaching learning process on the other side, at least at the undergraduate level, 12th class students who have just gotten into their first year, second years. Now their parents are watching what's going on the other side. I mean, this is such a radical shift. What is working, what is not working? I am asking that under basic fundamental research has to go into this thing. And it will happen because this is the future. There is no denying that digital technologies will continue to morph and adapt to the EdTech area. And I think right now we are at the stage where we believe that putting a teacher on one side of the camera and the student on the other side of the camera solves the problem. And I don't know how many of us have evolved beyond that. And I don't think we have done a very good job. I don't even blame the stakeholders. We are talking about our faculty members who have never, ever done this before. And we ask them to start teaching online without any training whatsoever. So I think this calls for an entirely radical approach, about who and how and what class sizes should be looked at. Should we have 36 people, 42 people? I mean, what is the most effective way? What are breakout rooms? I'm specifically talking about how to foster discussions. The word flipped classroom, it's a 20-year-old word, but it's suddenly come back into vogue. That what does this flipped classroom mean? Basically, we tell the students, go read everything yourself and then come back and we will now have a discussion. So I think there are so many models. And if I tell you that I know the answer, I would be completely wrong. But I feel the pain, the challenges that all stakeholders are facing. I don't think it is a fundamental, easy issue to answer. And what is good is that we have created a lot of data in the last year. And if we're going to do data-driven decisions, it'll help us to rethink about how should we take the learning teaching process forward, which is digitally enabled. And what happens when COVID goes away? Ask yourself that question. If COVID goes away, are we all going to fall back to the good old model of classroom teaching? I hope not. because we have learned that there are many advantages that can be streamlined, from learning management systems to AI-enabled proctoring to efficiencies to data analytics that technology brings to us, and measuring learning outcomes. So I hope we don't fall back into our old mode of operations, because, let's face it, we have all built very large infrastructures and we have to effectively use them. And if we want to effectively use them, we can't shut down our classrooms. So I think we are caught up in a situation where we are stuck between a rock and a hard place. So these are debates that are happening in boardrooms, in promoters, within promoters groups and stuff like that. So, we talk about cost, but then what do you do with a huge infrastructure that you built up, that Mr. Mittal talked about, Mr. Vijendra talked about, Dr. Vijendra talked about? So I think it's tough. It's tough. Do you create a new vertical? Do you say, okay, this is now a digitally enabled campus, I'm going into a new vertical, I'll keep my physical infrastructure intact? So I think we are in a very interesting phase in EdTech and education in India. And now with the new education policy on top of it, is creating a tremendous amount of disruption, positive disruption, let me say. So I think it's an opportunity that all of us who are leaders in the education space in India should grab an opportunity and rethink, unlearn, what we have learned, unlearn, relearn new ideas, keep working with this is it. This is a very interesting phase. And I think COVID has created an opportunity for all of us to shed our old ideas and rethink how we want to go forward.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Aggarwal. I think very, very, profound thoughts on so many questions, and thank you for the candidness on that. I think everybody is still figuring out. Some of us are trying to maybe, fake it by saying no, we are in control, but most of us are not, right? So that takes me to my next question to Dr. Madhu Chitkara, that let's assume things go fine by June, July, which we all are hoping for. Everybody's vaccinated and things get back to normal. And I know, like, Chitkara University has been doing amazing stuff. There is a lot of internal technologies. There are technologies that have been taken from outside and sort of combined. What elements of the existing digital learning processes do you want to keep, let's say in August, when your campus is running fully, students are actually in their classrooms? What parts of it would you want to retain?
Thank you, Hemant, for asking me this question. And I think I am with Aman, I am with Vijendra sir, and I am with Dr. Aggarwal, that whatever they were saying, and in part of it, if you combine all together, we all are feeling that thing in our campuses, right? So it was all mix of the different ideas from different university campuses, but at the end, the resultant is the same. Everybody is feeling that heat, and everybody has understood the importance of digital campuses. And I think well thought of the topic is that how to build the world-class digital campuses, whether it is because of Corona, because of the lockdown, or without this. Right? Well said, well asked by you, Hemant, that what will happen if it all will be normal. And first thing, it will never be normal like this, because the whatever was in 2019 will never be in coming 10 years at least. Reason being that now all the stakeholders are so much used to this digital technology, and they have, I think that every campus have done something very great and invested so much in the technology that they have made this a part of the regular system. So now this is going to happen, and this will be part of our regular system. So you say that world-class digital campuses, it means we are today talking about first the world-class, the second is the digital campus, right? So digital campus, that too world-class. Now you have seen the example that this 2020 was the only year in our whole journey, at least for me on 44 years of educational journey, this was the only year where I was able to meet so many leaders from education, so many leaders from industry, so many leaders from the society. and we were able to talk to them, and we have learned so much. If you see, indirectly, we have learned from each other so much that what we were doing. Now, normally when we were visiting the campuses, we were not able to understand the systems. But now through these webinars, through these Zoom interactions, we are able to understand so much. So I think if we talk about that, what will happen after July and August, and this challenge, well said by Dr. Aggarwal, that these were the challenges which were given to us by force, and we have all made it a opportunity. And because of that opportunity, we have invested so much in the campuses. But we can't have that in vacuum. We can't start a digital campus one and the physical, the other campuses, but it has to be merged like this. I will give you one example, that when we started coming back to the campus, we developed a full studio type environment where our teachers can take their Zoom classes, and when they are interacting with the more number of students. So these type of infrastructures were developed, and if you just seeing the meaning of digital in the context of a university campus, if you see that it has to be digital, so it is not digitally only in the administrative side, but academically also it has to be digital technology to be adopted to transform the educational services or the related technologies. I will give you one example, that all of us are using virtual platforms like GoToWebinar, we are using Zoom, we are using Cisco WebEx. And when I think, Hemant, you came to our campus, and when the CollPoll was used in MBA classrooms, you must have understood that there were some practical problems faced by the students and the faculty who were using that. Right? So you did something which was added to your technology, which was benefited to your stakeholders, the academia. And in that way, we have come up with a technology that if you are meeting physically to the students or online, that will work like that how we are doing it previously, right? So I think if you see about the importance and criticality of digital transformations, it is practically the experience based and the outcome of it. What is the outcome of the lectures online, and what are the outcomes of lectures offline? Now, I think we started calling the students from master's courses or the research students. They are coming to us. So when we are interacting to them, they said that it went off well. Reason being that if we were not able to do that, that year became the 0 year. But it was because of the, I think, cooperation of all the stakeholders, we were able to do that. And during this time, I just want to say that I'm very happy to announce that we were honored by QS, and we got e-learning excellence award during that, because we were very comfortable. Reason being that 10 years back, we started working with the faculty. It was just by chance. It was not that we were knowing that this crisis will come. We just started with the MOOC classes. We started giving them the knowledge that please come up with the recording of your lectures. They were very apprehensive, because everybody has a stage fear and everybody has a fear when they are coming in front of the cameras. I think, Kunwarji, you must be with me. When first time we came for the Zoom, we all were having hearts were beating, and we were saying, what will happen? Now it becomes a very, very regular routine. Just we change our backgrounds and we just come and we just interact. Because now also we have become very comfortable. So same happened in Chitkara University, that 10 years back, it was just a try for us, because when government was talking about, MHRD was talking about MOOCs classrooms, that you give us in SWAM platform some of the recorded lectures of your professors. So we thought that let us try. And some of them were very successful in delivering that. And exactly today, now today is 17th, 18th. On this day, 15th, we started with the planning for COVID. And in 1 week, we make that team leaders, those who were working on the MOOCs classrooms, and they, I think, gave the knowledge to the other faculty members. So we took 1 week to develop that technology with the others who were not very comfortable. So last time also in one of my webinars, I said that those who were not still comfortable, we said that we just prepare the notes, we just make the content, and the others who are comfortable in front of the cameras, they can talk to the students, they can interact with the students with those contents. The same Dr. Aggarwal was saying that when the teachers were there, so the number of students were 180 or 200 students. So in that case, if we started team teaching in the Zoom platform. So that worked very well. And for that, I request all the other universities and the colleges, those who have not invested much in the digital campuses, and I think world-class campuses is a requirement, because now we are working very closely with our international collaborators. And they are also on the Zoom platform with us, and they are also delivering the content to our students. So I think now it is a time for all the academic institutions to understand that what is to be invested now in future in our campuses, because it can happen anytime. So it will be the mix of online, offline. So we should go on doing it. We should not stop that now the situations are normal and we should again shift to the offline. It should not be there. So some part of it should be online always. So I think that is my take on of this 1 year experience.
Great. Thank you, ma'am, for the. So I think we've got 10 minutes left in the conversation. So I'm going to actually quickly ask questions and request you to give very quick answers, because these are very important questions which all of us are thinking about. And I'll start with Vijendra sir. So Shobhit is leading the way in terms of technology adoption. But as you know, and we work with some of the institutions, let's say just go to the Merit Highway, there are so many colleges. Do you think institutions are ready for real technology adoption? And if not, how many years would you give before we can actually imagine a lot of those colleges being actually coming at par in terms of technology adoption? How many years do you think we will take to reach there?
Hemant, they can start even today. We have to ensure, especially our EdTech companies have to ensure that they convince the people that this technology, this digitalization of the campus will help in their growth. The day every stakeholder will start feeling so, be it a student, teacher, promoter, administrator, anybody. Because generally what is happening, when we talk about digital campus, either we talk about only governance or cost cutting. We say it will help us in governance, it will help us in cost cutting, or circumstances like COVID, which has forced us to go for that. So now the onus lies on EdTech companies majorly to create an awareness that how it will add value to a teacher to adopt it, how it will add value to a student to adopt it, because that mindset has to be adopted before technology is implemented. So it may take years if we are not able to convince them, we are not able to give them an answer that how it will help in their personal growth also, not only institutional growth. So it can happen anytime. Now it is up to you people, how you do it and how fast you do it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, sir. Moving to you, Aman, a quick question. Do you think while at your level, I think talking about data-driven decisions is something I'm sure you're already taking those decisions. But do you think a dean in the institution or an HOD, do you think they are prepared to take data-driven decisions? Or because usually in education institutions have been a more sitting inside closed rooms, 5 people sitting across the table taking decisions, right, on their wisdom and experience, which has its own value. But do you think, let's say specifically talk about, let's say LPU, do you think now from the highest to the lowest level, do you think decisions can be taken on data now?
I think Hemant, quick answer to this is that we don't have a choice. I mean, in the end, if you want to take a good decision, if you want to take a right decision, the approach is to look at the data, just not to look at the experience. I mean, at your level, when you are making a particular, protocol or a particular module for something, I mean, you will just not take a decision based on, okay, mujhe theek lagta hai. You will go to your university partner and say, okay, tell me, what are the use case studies? Tell me how many people are actually using this technology, or how many people are using this particular module? What is their expectation? So I think it's not about Can they take a decision or not? I think it's about that they have to take a decision, because the right decision can be taken only with data, and experience should be used to ensure that you to analyze that data and come out with a solution. So I think if you ask me, we don't have a choice. I mean, none. I mean, forget about the deans or faculty or administrator. I think at any industry, any area of work, it should be a data-driven decision approach that should be followed. And I think the deans would be doing that. I mean, they're human beings. They're administrators. They're leaders. They're supposed to be doing a great work with respect to the decisions. So I think as the leaders, it is expected them to take a decision based on data. So I don't know really did I answer it right, but I think we don't have a choice.
I take your point. I take your point that we don't have any option now that this technologies exist, data exists. There is no other option but to actually look deeper into the data and drive our decisions on it. And then quickly a question to you, Madhu ma'am, that students we have typically seen, are very comfortable now chatting or asking questions with the faculty members on the apps, because that's what they do on daily basis, right? And I know, when we were doing something, we had to for some time put off the whole engagement piece, and there was so much of hue and cry about it not being on. So do you think now students, because they are all on, this is a WhatsApp, Snapchat generation, right? So rather than talking to a professor or going to the cabin like it used to be, at least in my days, they want to just ping on with a message. And so when college, do you think and I'm asking these questions because we see this on daily basis working with multiple institutions. These are some of these challenges. There is a mental barrier, especially on the administrative side or the academic side in the institutions, where suddenly the faculty thinks the protocol is broken, or the administrators think the protocol is broken. That how come this student suddenly messages me at any point of time? And we have seen that, we are seeing that a lot of times where we are looked at as a villain, that we are bringing in something which is breaking this back. So when do you think, or how do you think we can actually bring this cultural change? Because it's because we see a pushback where they think that protocol is broken. So your thoughts on that?
I think, Hemant, it is already there. So protocols are no protocols now. Because I think you are my student and I'm not getting WhatsApp from you for 1 week, I'm worried that there is something wrong somewhere, that you are not giving me any WhatsApp. So it will happen, and I think it is very good. And teachers are very comfortable with that. Students are very comfortable. But if you say that this culture will be not there, that they are coming to the cabin of the dean or the cabin of the teachers to interact, or they are not happy coming to the campuses, or that the old system will not be there, or we can't revive that culture. I think we all are not very comfortable with everything online. Students especially, we from the old thought, maybe we are not comfortable, but the young people like Aman, young people like Hemant, I think you are also not very comfortable sitting in your home and work from home, because that social culture and you are interacting physically with somebody, especially for the students of young age. I don't know that others have noticed or not. When they came back from the homes, some of them were very upset. Mentally, they were very upset. They were very tired. Not physically, but mentally, they were very tired. They need some mentoring from the teachers, and now they have understood the importance of the physical interaction with the faculty, with the deans, and with their peers. So I think they have learned so much from those interactions, and it will be that mix. And teachers are very comfortable with the WhatsApp. Otherwise, it was a challenge that एक student ने मेरे को WhatsApp कर दिया. How come that he has broken that? I think you can say the culture. Yes, protocol or the culture of it. But now it is in the system. It is in the blood, and we have to have everything calibrated in the academic governance processes and in the university ecosystem and any education institutions. It will be part of our ecosystem, where this student-centering approach, we were always talking about the student-centric approach, but now actually we have seen in this year that what actually is the student-centric approach. So this is to be done, and it is, I think,
Great. Thank you. So my final question to Dr. Aggarwal, that now that we are saying that that lectures, tutorials can happen online, uh, can we expect that the campuses will be more, sort of busy with events, activities, because the classes can still continue to happen online? And there's a magic that happens in the campus when people meet each other, they work on projects, they work on ideas together, more entrepreneurship, innovation, so many things. And Bennett is obviously very progressive and have been setting a lot of new trends. Do you think we can expect that in, let's say, August, when the new academic year starts, we're still continuing a lot of classes online, and a lot of our time spent in campuses is more around, let's say, clinics, around events in the campus, projects and other activities? Do you think that's going to happen soon or not? Because while everybody's talking about it, I don't know, a part of me says that everything will go back to normal, once campus is open, and everybody will forget. Do you think we're going to see that fundamental change or not?
So, Hemant, first of all, I'm very much in agreement with all the other speakers on this panel. I don't think 2019 is a normal anymore. That has to be redefined, has been redefined. 2021 will be a new normal, and it won't be 2019 for sure. I mean, our students have changed, our educators have changed. Somebody said to me a long time ago, if you fight culture, culture will eat you for lunch. But I think pandemic has eaten our culture, so it's okay. The pandemic has created a new normal. I mean, 2019, what's going to happen in 2021 will be a very interesting journey, I would say, honestly. It depends on whether social distancing will be required, not required in the classrooms. I mean, if anybody believes that COVID is gone in 2021, I would ask them to go, very cautious on that statement. Our classrooms are built with the old pedagogical approaches of 60 people in a classroom. But if we have to teach 30 people only at one time, then there is going to be a situation where half the students are in class, half the students are in a flipped mode. The campus interactions are going to be vital. Activities, peer-to-peer learning. Again, our campuses are built to a certain optimized capacity. Sometimes you have 2 students to a room. Some campuses have 3 students to a room. Will that be acceptable, not acceptable? These are very, very important questions, but I don't think we necessarily know the answers. Therefore, I believe technology will play a very vital role even when campuses are physically opened to students, in making that divide, in facilitating the education processes, the administrative processes, the delivery of teaching, learning, the meeting of, the meeting culture, travel. I mean, I used to do 200 commercial flights a year. Last year, the number was a big old 0. And I have loved it. So, and I have not lost out on anything, to be honest. And I can only answer it to you this way, that technology is here to stay, and it's here to stay in a very different way. It may not be what we saw in 2020 during COVID times, because there was nobody on campus. Now there's going to be some kind of a mixed model that we will have to work with. It's not going to be a pure play campus model. It won't be a pure play digital model. It will be a blended model. And again, as we have experimented, we will continue to experiment and see what works for us best.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Aggarwal, for your thoughts. Thank you to everyone. And I think to summarize, the key points we spoke about is that now that our technology is getting used in campuses, there will be more emphasis on leveraging the data, building in better models to take better decisions. Culturally, things have changed, and faculty members, staff members are more open to being at the same platform with the students and interacting. There's a huge responsibility on the EdTech players to evangelize the benefits of technology and create that pull where other institutions who are not yet able to see the value start seeing that value here. Again, like I started with it, I think post-COVID, it's going to be a new era in higher education, which is going to be empowered and by technology. And with a collaboration, there is a huge opportunity for India to leapfrog in terms of higher education into this new phase and show the way to the world, because we don't have legacy issues in technology. We can straight away leapfrog to the best technologies in the world and showcase what we can do. And I'm very happy to work. I think happy to work with Chitkara, Bennett, Shobhit University, probably soon with Aman as well. And I think the responsibilities continue to grow as we see, and the opportunity continues to grow as well. Along with the responsibility. So again, thanks to the APAC News Network for hosting this conversation. And thank you everyone else to join in, take your time to share your thoughts with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hemant. Thank you so much, Dr. Madhu Chitkara, Mr. Kunwar, Shekhar, Vijendra, Dr. Prabhu Aggarwal, and Mr. Aman Mittal for joining us for a very important session of Higher EdTech Innovation Conclave. And this session was all about building world-class digital campuses. And if I take a cue from what has been discussed for last 1 hour or so, that pre and post-COVID era, this will be the defining moment for India's higher EdTech spectrum. Thank you so much. And we'll take a short break and we'll be joined by Mr. Rajat Goel from College Junior, who will be giving a presentation. So do join us at 2:20 Indian time. Thank you so much all.